Okay, folks. Good morning from Alaska. It's November 30th, 2017. It's a Friday morning, and I'm your host, Greg. So, welcome. Oh, where to start? Oh, boy. Well, up here in Alaska, I'll give you a weather report first. We got a nice clear day outside, it looks like. It's about 10, almost 11 o'clock here, and the sun's just over the horizon. It's getting light enough to you can see outside. Might go out today with the camera if I get really super bored and see what we can pick up for y'all. Sexual harassment. My God, can't these people keep their zippers closed? You know, I mean, I grew up in the 60s in the sexual revolution, and Jesus, we all had more common sense and decorum back then than these politicians and celebrities have now. I mean, come on. Matt Lauer? Oh my God. You know, who would do him? Well, any woman that would do him has to have her head examined. Jesus. I don't know where it's all going to end. Or will it ever end? Who knows? Okay, so we got the North Koreans launching shit again. Them dumb fucks. I don't know why we just don't nuke them and get it over with. I guess we don't want to look like the bad guy to the rest of the planet, so we're going to wait till they hit us. So hopefully they'll hit like Los Angeles, or they'll hit Washington D.C. or New York City or something like that. Somewhere where there's a big bunch of leftards all together. You know, oh, that'd be great. But God may get them prior to that, because I hear that they're having quite a bit of earthquakes down there in California. And the caldera in Wyoming is starting to stir up pretty damn bad. It may maybe do a nice little pop. Then we got in Bali on the Ring of Fire, we got a active volcano spewing all that global warming gases up in there. I think that the majority of the Democratic Party should book a flight to Bali, along with the Antifa people, the global warming morons. All of them get over there and surround that volcano and let it know how you feel about global warming. You know, get your signs out and start pumping them up and down. You know, let that volcano know that that you're mad about it and you're not going to take it any longer. All right, so as normal, we will do some commentary as we're goofing off here, looking at different things on the net. So let me see if I get into the right screen here for you. Bam. All right. Here we go with old Facebook. And let's maximize that so we can see it. Let's just go through, look at some of the headlines, or I guess on Facebook, they're postings of some type, short little memes or posters. Where are we? Kentucky. They become a still. Problems with liberals. Oh boy. Well, I don't think there's a difference between being a communist liberal, an Antifa liberal, and a Democratic liberal, and just liberal in general. I am more of a libertarian. I believe in freedom. You know, as long as what you do doesn't hurt me and doesn't hurt anybody else, you should have the freedom to do it. You know, that's pretty much my opinion on freedom. Whereas I believe the Democrats believe that, well, if you're as long as you pull the party line and do what you're told, especially if you're of color, okay. If you're black, as long as you do what they tell you to do and vote how they want you to vote, they'll keep you on the plantation and make sure you got enough food and to survive, just to keep your heart beating and your blood circulating. That's what they want. They want their slave class. They're still pissed off about the Civil War when the Republicans took their slaves away. Well, they got around that. If you noticed, after the Civil War, they got around that. They formed their own little Gestapo SS called the KKK. Larry Bird, one of the most famous, was it Larry Bird? No, what was his name? Last name was Bird. He was a speaker, Senate leader or Speaker of the House for the Democrats for like 34 years. He was the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. And you got old LBJ's famous words, "I'll have them niggers voting Democratic for 200 years." That was, if people don't remember, that was after he took power, been in office a couple of years, and they were working on the Great Society. The Great Society, where they went into black neighborhoods all over the nation, put up projects, confiscated and tore down individuals' houses, their businesses, everything, and stuck them up in Soviet-style housing called the projects. Okay. Then they started putting the little goodies on there. Well, you know, we really can't have you mama and have your baby daddy living in the same house and giving you this. We can't give you the money as long as daddy's around, you know. Even if daddy's unemployed or whatever, get rid of daddy. And oh yeah, here's some extra money. You got rid of daddy and you had another baby, so here's some more money. You know, then you got whole generations raised like that. Let's see, this thing's starting to slide off of there. All right, that's a little bit better. I have a Logitech camera that's on a little balancing rod on the top of the monitor, and it goes back and forth, especially when I start shaking and the table pounding my fist and stuff. So, you know, what were we talking about? Yeah, we were talking about the Democratic Party. So anyway, now we got all this stuff coming out about the Democrats, about the sexual harassment stuff that they do. You know, the criminality that they're involved in. You still got the Clinton cartel and Clinton holdovers and Obama holdovers, and some of the officers in Washington that are doing everything they can to instigate a coup against the elected president. And the only thing I got to say is that I believe most veterans and most active duty military, police officers, and I know some ex-police officers and current police officers and stuff. You know, just because I look like a hippie don't mean I am one. You know, and they're all for Trump. They're for law and order and stuff. They're for the Democrats are miscalculating big time. And they won't really realize this until November elections 2018, when they lose a whole bunch more seats and they get stomped a whole bunch more, you know. And when they pull stunts like they did by not showing up at the budget meeting at the White House, where they're trying to hash out a continuing resolution, I think, or some budget legislations that'll keep the government functioning and keep everybody paid and stuff. When they don't show up for that because their little hurt feelings, one of their colleagues, who is a giant fraud, Pocahontas, what's her name? Warren, Elizabeth Warren, the Pocahontas woman. You know, you may not know the story, but the reason she's called Pocahontas is because she lied on examination to get in to get a position at Harvard that was reserved for a quota, an American Indian quota. Okay, now I don't believe in quotas per se. I think there was a time when that was needed back in the 70s and 80s. There were no black people, no Indians, no people of color in positions like college professors and stuff. And that needed to be corrected. Okay, so she goes on and says that because she has high cheekbones, that there must be Native American in her, so she qualifies for that slot that was set aside for a Native American professor at Harvard. She literally stole someone else's position by lying. And now it's been found out. It's been known for a long time, but everyone just fluffed it off because for the longest time, the Democrats have been in control of everything. So they just fluff it off. Whenever a Democrat does anything, it's not even reported, not taken seriously, or forgiven immediately. You know. So she got away with that. Now she must be taking some hormone shots for transgenderism, because she's growing a set of balls on her where she can stand up before a camera and say, "I am offended by the word Pocahontas," when there's no way in hell she was ever have any Indian blood in her. Hell, one of her ancestors was one of the soldiers rounding up Cherokees on the Trail of Tears and killing them. You know, her great grandfather got a write up in some paper of the time about how he killed Indians. Okay, you know, and the majority of you folks out there are just drinking the Kool-Aid left and right. So, you know, it gets very frustrating. All right, so let's look at this. Look at the Facebook stuff here. This is always good for a laugh to look through some of this stuff. Okay, Center has induced a bill legalizing marijuana throughout the U.S. Well, yes, once they've got the pharmaceutical companies lined up and the big tobacco and big industry, they'll go ahead and take those restrictions off of it. So the small entrepreneur can't get involved in it. Take the state of Alaska, okay? Now, we've got legalized marijuana for recreational use in Alaska. We may sometime in the future have, then they're pushing for this, to be able to have cafes and restaurants where you can go in and get high, you know, like in Amsterdam. That's been doing it for like 40 years or something. So, you know, it would be a great boom for tourism in Alaska, especially in like port cities like Anchorage and Skagway and Juneau and those places where you get these big, huge boats full of like 8,000 people show up and they disembark and run a town, you know, to visit it. You know, they can get stoned, you know, and smoke some weed and stuff there, spend more money. And most of those Alaskans that live in those communities need that moolah to make it through the rest of the year. They count on those people spending the money. It's just like any other tourist destination in Colorado. I'm sure Colorado and Aspen and those places are just booming. I don't know whether they have legalized. I know they have legalized weed, but I don't know if they're allowing them to have public consumption of it, like they do over in Europe. By public, I don't mean standing out on the street corner. I mean in a bar or a restaurant or something. You know, coffee houses are a great example of how that's done over in Europe. So, you know, the thing about the marijuana is that if you read the restriction, not the restriction, but the requirements to get a license to either grow, manufacture any product from marijuana, or retail it. The process to do that is so restrictive and requires so much capital up front that most prudent people are not going to get involved in it. The only people that are going to have the pockets deep enough to do that stuff are the large corporations. And if you go and ask some of the people that are doing it now what their startup costs were, you will be amazed. You know, there's one dude in Anchorage who put up, it took him, I think he said over $500,000 in fees and licensing and bribes and everything just to open up his location. So you know, they're squeezing out the entrepreneur. Now they do have a program or something where you can grow, if you're a grower, you can grow like 500 square feet, and it doesn't cost you as much in licensing fees. But you still got to do all the overhead involved in it. You have to own the property. You have to have notified all your neighbors in writing, held town council meetings and got their sign off on your stuff. Just jump through all kinds of expensive hoops in order to just, you know, plant some plants. I mean, it's all set up on purpose to keep the small entrepreneur out and let only the huge corporations in. And that's what you'll see. You'll see R.J. Reynolds get in there. You'll see Bayer. You'll see all these big, huge corporations in the pharmaceutical industry and you know, in the nicotine industry. You know, they'll all jump right in there once the federal ban has been removed. And the only thing right now is because it's a Schedule I drug or product or whatever you want to call it, you know, it takes special legislation and stuff by the states in order to protect your bud. If you're a grower or if you're a retailer, the feds at any time can just walk right into your stit and take everything you got, throw the cuffs on you, and put you in jail. You know. The fact that the states have legalized it does not mean it's federal legalized. And the big, huge corporations are not going to put all their money into something like that until it's legal across the board federally. Okay, all the methods and means that are being developed now by small entrepreneurs or medium-sized entrepreneurs, all the, you know, the marketing, the branding, all that shit will be sucked up by these huge companies. Quality control, all that stuff, be sucked up, and it'll become just another commodity like beer, like, you know, beer, wine, or whiskey or whatever. But not until they've gotten complete control over the genome of the plants. Right now, from what I understand, is that the federal government has got patents on the marijuana plant. Okay, certain patents on it. I don't know. I know all the different cannabinoids and all the different compounds that are in there that are therapeutic. These major drug companies are synthesizing similar stuff and patenting that so that they can claim patent infringements at some point in time in the future. So what they're trying to take a plant that God gave the human race and claim ownership to its genome, as well as, you know, just like they did with, you know, Monsanto did with I think it's Monsanto did with feed corn and stuff. They'll genetically modify it just a hair, and then they'll claim a patent on it, but they'll make it so that that gene is part of the pollination process, and that when that pollen gets into the air in these farmers' fields and stuff, it'll pollute natural stuff, and then that act itself becomes a patent infringement. You know, they'll seize everybody else's crops and stuff because of patent infringements. This is just the way that they are. All right, let's look a little bit longer here. Okay, young man's liberty, record show these, blah, blah, blah. There's a puppy, he's pretty. Do baby food. Yeah, I remember. Long time ago. Long time ago. GoPro. I wish I had the money to get some more new GoPros. I just don't have it. It's because I'm retired. 63. I turned 63. I'm retired. Now I'm working at retirement. I'm trying to figure out a way to make a couple extra bucks. Oh, here we go. Look at this scumbag back here. Al Franklin, the Scumbinator. Yay! That used to be such a cool show. I haven't seen much of it. I got rid of my cable box. I just do streaming now. I do a lot of YouTube streaming and Netflix. But I actually canceled my Netflix because they decided they were going to charge more, and I don't know if they're worth it. This is Matt Lauer. He likes to cross-dress. Look at this. Yeah. Real men don't need what? A gun? Sure you do. What was that one saying? God made man, but Sam Colt made man equal. They were best cousins. Oh, yeah. Okay. I like doing this with you folks. It's kind of fun. You know, I like to go out and show you guys some of Alaska, but man, I'm getting old and that's cold out there. I might go out today and shoot some, but I might, then again, I might not. I just like ranting and raving here. Should Trump cut funding to? Oh, hell yeah! Why in the hell are the people supporting these morons? And if you're still watching these assholes at this long, you're a glutton for punishment. You know, you need to have your head examined when you'll support a bunch of folks that hate your guts and hate your country. You know, or that are just too fucking stupid to understand what they're doing. They're on a different tangent in reality. They think that what they're doing is they're showing a protest against what they think is unjust treatment of colored people. Okay, they won't do that before the game or after the game. They have to do it during the national anthem, a time when you're supposed to be showing reverence for all the people that died to keep you free. But no, in their little twisted, stupid, doped out minds, they're keeping it real and being strong black men. They're keeping it real. No, they're just a bunch of morons. They know it. North Korea's most powerful. Yeah, it can reach us. So what? We could shoot it out. Why Trump and the Pentagon didn't shoot that fucker down when we had the capacity to do it? I guess they don't want to demonstrate to them our true capacity until it's too late, until they got an excuse to actually to thump them and turn them into glass. I think probably the Russians or the Chinese will fucking take them out if they keep fucking around. One thing is Russia shares, it's got a close border to them. I think it's like 200 miles away. Where's it? Where's that town? Vostok? I think so. No, can't pronounce it. I could, but I'd wind up spitting all over my face by doing it. All right, the White House. Now that looks awesome, doesn't it? It looks like a winter wonderland. That's a hell of all that crystal, and oh, it's beautiful. Highly polished floors. I mean, it looks awesome. And you got all the left-hard flakes out there in the media. Oh, it looks horrid. A fucking bunch of shitheads. And CNN, we're not going to go to the Christmas party. You can't make us. You were mean to us this year. We're not going to go. Okay. And who's the name? Sarah Silverman, or yeah, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I think is her last name. The press secretary tweets, yep, Christmas came early this year. CNN ain't going to show up. That was awesome. And they just, the liptards and the stupid fucking old style media just does not get it. You know, the age of the broadcast media is over. It's streaming media now, man. That's where everything's at. Well, what's the matter, Katie? Quiet. You interrupted me. So, you know, until they learn that that they're irrelevant, that majority of people nowadays get their news, get their entertainment and stuff off of the internet. That allows independent producers of media, of content, such as WA, to put stuff up on the net that if people are interested in seeing it or become a part of it or whatever, they can just go up there and grab it. They don't have to have a cable subscription. They don't have to fucking put up with gazillion commercials. Although they are starting to monetize like YouTube channels and stuff like that. I don't monetize mine because, frankly, I don't care. You know, I'm not trying to make a living out of it. I do this shit just because I enjoy it. It's fun to do. You got to do something in the winter in Alaska to keep sane, and this is how I do it. I could be sitting here pumping out code, developing new methods and means to write the same old shit over and over again, you know. But I did that enough years. I'm not interested in doing that anymore. Rand Paul. Now here's a good guy. I would see him as president of the United States. You know, he's a decent dude. He's got good ideas. He's patriotic, good dude. Paul Walker, really? Okay. And see, this is an example of what I was talking about. Everybody now has a printing press. Everybody now has a video camera or a recording device of some type, you know. So you can get information and news from the internet on anything that you want because there's enough providers out there. It used to be, if you wanted to know stuff, you had to turn on CBS, NBC, ABC, you know, PBS, you know, and then you were spoon-fed dogma from those people. They went from becoming information providers to propaganda mouth organs. That's what happened to them. And CNN, MSNBC, and the like, they're just propaganda mouth organs for the failing Democratic Party. You know, and it's a shame because the Democrats at one time were the party of the people. You know, and then they morphed. You know, well, that's what they said. When they said people, that was back during the unionization era, where unions were getting big and stuff, and people were organizing in the unions at work and things like that. They kind of supported that stuff, but it turns out the only reason they did that is not for the individual people. It was so that they could collect fees and money from union fees and laundered it through their little democratic organizations and put it in their pocket. You know, and basically it's been a mindfuck game for the Democrats to the nation since the 60s. Since JFK was the last Democrat that was halfway decent. He was a good dude. He was a war hero. He was a little quirky sexually, and that seems to be one of the requirements to be a Democrat, is to have sexual quirks. But he was the last Democrat I had any I want to say respect for. All right. Matt Lauer releases a statement. Who cares what Matt Lauer says? Nobody gives a shit. Trump goes rogue. Oh, that's purty. And you look at this. You tell me that is not a guy. You tell me that is not a man. That is a freaking man. Look at the bone structure. Look at the Adam's apple. You know, the arms, the shoulders, the neck column there, the muscular neck. That is a freaking man. For Winfrey. She's a smart entrepreneurial gal, but she's too racist for me. I'd never vote for her. She's a racist, a black racist. Hey, we got bros being bros there, man. Representing, keeping it real. A bunch of them are gonna attack a white guy. Yeah. I can't read all that stuff. Some more stuff. Let's go look over somewhere else here. Let's look on Drudge and see what the national people think is the important stories. And Drudge, this is amazing that ever since Matt Drudge put this site up, this is a news aggregation site, okay? And once in a while he'd put one of his own stories that he wrote on it, but mostly it was just links to links. You know, in the early days of the internet, this is how you navigated around. You'd have a links page. Ergo, you'd get stuff evolving out of that, like Craigslist evolved out of that, Facebook evolved out of stuff like that. All of them did. Yahoo, all these things. In the back, at their base, they were basically just an aggregated site where you could go and there would be links to other sites. Well, that's all what this guy's ever done. But according to the left, you know, this guy's a right-wing shrill when he's not. All he does is put links up. Now, granted, you can manipulate people a little bit over how you phrase a headline, you know, and that's been done to death. And that's used as part of the propaganda thing. The cool thing about broadcasting is when I studied it at the Eastern Kentucky University, I went there after my first tour in the Army. Me and my wife both got out of the Army in Alaska, and we went back to Kentucky to try to go to school. So I wound up working a couple of jobs and going to school full time, you know, and I spent maybe 18 months before I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I went back in the Army. But yeah, when I was studying broadcasting, I was working at the local university television station as I did sets. I made props, sets, lighting, ran the cameras. Since I had a background in motion picture photography, that's my MOS in the Army, I'd go out and shoot newsreels and stuff like that for them. But as part of that, I was taking classes, and one of them was broadcasting in the public interest. And basically what it boils down to is that broadcasting is basically propaganda. That's what we were taught. We were taught how to manipulate public opinion by the headlines that we used and just the adjectives and verbs that we would use, things that we would things that we would omit on purpose in order to shape the public opinion, shape the public's mind. And that's taught in school. I mean, that's part of getting your broadcast degree. Okay? So we're aware. The people in the know that what's going on. These poor saps out there that don't know that stuff take everything that they see and read here from people they think are credible, when basically they're not. They're not credible, and most of them have an agenda that you're not privy to. You're just a cog in the wheel. By men on Facebook. Here you go. Woman stabbed 50 times, body burned in Philly alley by man she met on Facebook. Okay. All you retards out there that post your life history on Facebook, that put stuff like your date of birth, your sex, your address, your phone number, you know, I've seen people do that crap. It's just, they're just nuts. What's even more crazy, let's go back to here. What's even more crazy are the folks that specifically invite spying into their own house. You know, what do you guys think that these service things like Google Home is, and there's another one, Amazon Prime, Amazon something, and there's like 5 or 10 of these different services where they stick a freaking microphone in your house that allows you to be monitored constantly, and you can ask it a question that you're too fucking lazy to sit down at a keyboard and type in to Google search engine or some other search engine. If you're that fucking stupid to allow yourself to be bugged, you might as well turn on your webcams and broadcast all the time. Shit, put a fucking camera in your bathroom. You know, that's just insane. And then they go, well, I think we might have been compromised. I don't remember making this purchase. Yeah, your identity's been stolen. You've been hacked because you voluntarily put all that information out. You think the same people that keep reporting that their systems have been gotten into and hacked, are the ones that are providing you these convenience devices that you talk to, and they, it just doesn't make any sense that you'd be that stupid to allow that in your house. Of course you're not going to have it. There's no privacy anymore. You're inviting them in. You might as well just go ahead and swab every one member of your family, get a sample of their DNA and send it into the government for file. Because you're doing this when you fall for that scam of, find out your heritage roots. Are you part Indian? Are you part black? Are you part? All they're doing is collecting your DNA. Okay. Now, one of the things they can use with that DNA is to see how many genome pairs that you have that are common to certain races. All right. That may be legitimate for you, but you know what else they can find in there? They can find out whether you're going to get cancer at age 40. They can find out whether you're going to have different types of skin diseases. They can tell whether you're going to go blind. All kinds of shit. It's all in the genetic code that you're willingly giving them about yourself and your family. You don't think that they're not going to use that against you? You don't think that there's some actuary sitting up at State Farm or one of the other giant fucking insurance companies that are going, you know what, our profit margin is shrinking a little bit. We're paying out too many claims. Maybe we need to start, we got this data, what we got to do is pay a little bit to get access to it. We can check and see whether this guy is going to get fucking cancer at age 40. Okay? If he is, well, that's a risk we don't want to take. Either we deny him coverage or we seed the cost out by charging him more than he would the other ones. I have a cat knocking at the door. You want to come get the kitty? Get off of there, you dumbass. Get down. All right, everybody's seen you. Things I do for my pets, I'll tell you. All right. Well, that's, you know, I'm not going to go on and on about that. If you're dumb enough to fucking fall for that scam, send your DNA in. You deserve whatever happens to you. It's bad enough that the freaking government monitors every electromagnetic transmission in the country, and most probably around the world by now. So that everything that you type, everything you text, everything that you say, voicemail, all that stuff, it's all recorded. So, you know, right now, since we live in relative freedom, it's not a big problem. But what they're doing is they're backlogging that stuff. They're storing that information. So who knows what's going to happen in 10 years or 5 years. You get an administration, or we get attacked or something, somebody takes over. And before you know it, that information is used to control you and your family. All right. That's about all the rants I have in me today. Maybe I'll get outside and get some stuff done. I don't know. Let's see. That's, oh, here, look at this thing. This will freak you out. Look at that. Look at that thing. Ugh. What people do to each other is crazy. Alright, let's see what else we got here. I'm going to look around here. Let's see. I'll let you guys look with me. Boop. Boop, boop. Alright, so what we got here? Oh, Dow's 24,000. Woo. Kane says yes on tax cuts. That's probably because he wants to do something good before he dies. Who knows? He's a traitor and a half. Hanoi Hilton, he sung like a canary bird. He should have been shot for treason when they got him out of there, but since his relatives were influential and had power in Washington, he got away with being just like Kerry. Kerry should have been shot as a traitor. He is a fucking traitor. Anyway, let's see what else we got up here. Google, not much happening on Google Plus. That's nothing there. Alrighty. So I guess that's it for me today. We'll be talking to you again as soon as I get some good footage or good photos. I got to get out and get about. It's been just too cold for me to want to go out and shoot stuff. I would love to take my camera and microphone and go out and do a man on the street series of interviews. But till the weather moderates a little bit, I don't want to stand out there at below 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It's just not comfortable. You know, if you like it, fine. All right, so that's it for me. We're signing off. Bye.